There's a Christian dating conversation gaining traction right now, where men are being asked what they actually want, and people are paying attention for a reason, not because the answers they're giving are really all that shocking, but because clarity has become incredibly rare. And this conversation reveals something important about why Christian dating feels like it's hitting a wall for many people, even when intentions are good. Simply put, when these men started talking, they touched on something people really feel, even if they can't explain it yet. The conversation itself was put out by the Moral Revolution channel, and I will link it in the description below. They brought 3 single Christian men onto their show and asked them a series of questions that apparently were written down by single Christian women who really wanted to know the answers. And I'm pretty sure that it even took the host by surprise just how many people tapped in with the conversation, because they did more than twice as many views on this video than anything else they've ever put out on that channel. And it's been around for years. They even followed it up with another video featuring 3 women who addressed what they look for in a husband. But in this one, the one that really took off, they addressed who should pay for first dates, how important physical attraction actually is or isn't, even things like how a woman can let a man know that she's interested without being too forward, and they even tried to clarify what it really means for a man to be intentional compared to when he's just being friendly. But remember, it really isn't just about the questions themselves. It's that when these men were asked what they want, they continued to answer specifically with outcomes. And if you listen closely, the men talked about peace, attraction, loyalty, respect. All of these are things that feel concrete. And that clarity feels refreshing, especially in a dating culture that is filled with ambiguity. There were several moments where each of the men gave some version of a hot take. They just came right out and said it, whatever it was that they had to say. And if you watched the entirety, of course there were some trends across all 3 men, but men are very much so the same and very much so different. So each one of them is going to give details that are very personal about how they see pursuing a wife. And that is the right word to use for it, just to clarify. So it's not that the answers were one size fits all. It's that whatever the men were saying, even if it differed from whoever was sitting next to them, they said it decisively. And if you just lean into that a little bit more, you should be aware that most Christian dating advice is incredibly vague. To be as clear as I possibly can about this, people aren't reacting to the video because they agree with everything these men had to say. They are reacting because clarity feels rare. But here's the thing. We're definitely getting evidence that people have a desire for more conversations like this. And for that matter, this channel hopes to contribute to it in more ways than one. But conversations like this do fail in one regard. And it's not because men are wrong. They fail because preferences do not automatically translate into understanding. Allow me to explain. When these men speak, they're doing the absolute best they can to be transparent with whatever answer they're giving. And they're not even trying to speak for all men. They're representing themselves, but they're still doing it on a platform where every man does not have a voice, but they do. So when they give an answer, even if it's just to express what they prefer, it is possible that women might actually hear what they're saying as some form of evaluation, or for that matter, pressure. Just consider that expressing a desired outcome is not the same thing as expressing what someone would actually have to do, like the actions they would take that lead up to that outcome. So people have to interpret what they have to do in the margins that create that outcome. And that's where ambiguity can come right back into the conversation. But if you're new here, I want to say thank you for even making it this far into the video. My name is Ezra, and if relationships that actually work are really what you want, I believe anybody can have it if you ask the right questions. Because if the word of God is actually true, then I've got a whole lot of repenting to do. And if anything that I say actually connects with you, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe. But if I don't, just let me know in the comments section, because I'll try to read them all. And that does create a situation where both sides assume that the other understands what is implied. Like all the steps in between, where you are today and the desired outcome you just expressed. Like, how do we go from here to there? They did do a women's conversation, and if you look at the transcript between that one In the men's version, the answers that are given are not 100% of complimentary. Both are being transparent. They're both being honest, don't get me wrong. But the way in which those answers, or specifically that viewpoint on dating, do they actually converge? Because that's what's actually happening here in the dating pool. At some point, the two people actually have to come together. Simply put, saying what you want doesn't necessarily mean that the other person hears what you really meant by it. And the Christian dating world has been dealing with this problem for a good while now, because the messages that men receive about how to go about dating and what we tell women, again, don't exactly match. They don't even complement each other. Men are told to take the risk, to take initiative, to put themselves out there. Women are told to guard their hearts, be cautious, and to wait on God. Both messages make sense independently, but together, they don't exactly complement and meet in the middle, which is why conversations like this are incredibly welcome. And they do start us on a process towards more general understanding, but they don't by themselves change dating, because there's a real reason why Christian dating feels stuck for so many people. It's not because people won't talk. It's actually because people talk past each other. And I am talking about men and women. Just consider how men specifically understand and think about clarity. They generally equate it to leadership. So the more a man tries to lean into a leadership role in a relationship, as far as he's concerned, clarity is being expressed. If he's taking initiative, if he is, reaching out to call, to set up dates, to express interest in varying ways, that alone is not just leadership, but once again, should express clarity. But women don't share the same definition of what clarity is. For them, it is primarily a feeling of safety and timing. So the more at ease a woman feels in a relationship, emotionally protected, heard, to be seen, to be loved and cared for. And I do mean that in the purest of sense. But as long as those feelings are there, then clarity is coming. And any introduction of negative emotion, any at all, can push that feeling of safety away. But timing is another component to this, because it's not just the relationship itself, but how it progresses. Because doing the right things in the wrong order doesn't make a woman feel safe, which still backfires and shuts down the whole thing. To be honest about this, neither side is wrong. They're both doing what's in their best interest that conceivably should lead to a healthy marriage, assuming that is the end goal. But they're also both optimizing for a very different risk, because dating does have a risk, both in the short term and in the long term. In the short term, most people just interpret it as heartbreak. But in the long term, if you are a man, you can make not just a wrong choice, but an irreversibly wrong choice. And if you are a woman, you can basically get signed up for the wrong future. And what all of this really means is that most dating frustrations aren't caused by bad intentions. They're caused by misread signals. Shout out to Moral Revolution for bringing these conversations to light, because they do resonate and they do touch on something very real, but they do not necessarily address the deeper root issue. The real dating problem isn't just what men want or even what women want. It's that expectations stay unspoken, because you can express a desired outcome and still say nothing that's actually understood by the other person about what actions are required to lead to that point. And when that happens, people assume alignment that really isn't there. And that is what I'm going to unpack next. Because until expectations are clearly named, attraction and momentum will continue to stall. But please let me know what part of this felt clear to you and what parts felt unresolved. If you actually made it all the way to the end of this video, I do have to admit that thank you doesn't do it justice anymore, because you are a real one. As far as if anything I said actually connects with you, I do invite you to comment. Just be honest, share your experiences. I do the best that I can to actually read them all. And if nothing else, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe.